Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Michelle Alter, and I'd like to welcome you to the first Women's History Month Roundtable. We are going to focus today on women in business in our great city of Cambridge. I'd like to take a moment to introduce our guests, and then we will go around and let them tell you a little bit about themselves. And we'll start with as our Di Brennan. Di is the owner of the Di Experience. And people will let you know. I'm welcome you over and you can put your business in. Welcome. This is Chelsea Poland. Chelsea is the owner of Shampoo Center. This is Selma Duffner, and she is the owner of America. And this is Mayor Dave Bronson. This is Lee Omega, and she is the owner of several businesses. This is great. House of Transformation. She is a pastor at the Alaska Revival Center and the owner of TLC Home Care. This is Kimberly Barright, and she is the owner of Advanced Body Solutions. So I'll just circle back down here over to Roy. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your business a little bit? Right down the wall. I'm going to be calling you myself. Chelsea, please tell us about yourself and your business. Hello, everyone. My name is Beckner. What we do provide financial education to the community. One big thing that we see and what's happening is that people making up money, but they just don't have the education because we're not taught in school how to manage our financial and personal finances. So that is like one of our key goals, really financial education. We have the same license as financial advisors, but our goal in our office is to make financial education accessible to the whole community. So awesome. I think that's fantastic. I know when I went to our school, it's required to do personal finances. And as you just said, we're not taught that in school. So I think that's a wonderful opportunity for our young people too, especially prior to them graduating. So welcome. And let's see if you don't mind, I was wanting to skip over to the things that we have around you. Lena, goodness gracious, you are got a lot going on. That's fabulous. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and this business.
Yep. So I'm Nina. You have seen your agency in Anchorage, United States, Tennessee here. And then in 2019 is our House of Transformation, which is a transitional living support and help people in homelessness, addiction, and incarceration, kind of re-enter society. So we do a lot of background services. We help for jobs. We help reintegrate families. And we recently started Senior Rehabilitation Center, which helps them with apprenticeship education barbering, esthetician, hairdressing, and then we're also working on solar panel plans. That's incredible. Thank you so much. I heard you mention reuniting families, especially businesses. Something we all really need. So that's great work. Thank you for being here. Hi, Kim. And if you want to take a second and tell us about yourself, that would be great. Thanks for being here. Awesome, thank you. I have also the education of Kim's and she is very helpful with the healing process. So later on,
My name is Dave Bronson, Mayor of Anchorage. I'm not in business. I'm in the political business, I guess, these days. I don't know which one's tougher or not, but anyways, I'm just happy to be here and participating in this venture. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much for having all of us, Mayor. I'm going to, instead of singling you guys out, I'm going to kind of go randomly here. I have a couple of questions that I'd like to start off with. And the first one I think is really instrumental in helping new entrepreneurs. And if we could, I'll start with you, Chelsea. And if you could just give us a 2-minute story of how you got started. I mean, really tell us about your journey. How did you get
So
to
my opportunity was somewhat than most, and actually I started my senior year at the salon I worked at. I had always had to have little jobs here and there, but started as a receptionist, and then did venture off after I graduated to college for a bit and out of state, and then ended up coming home, went back to the salon that I'm at. The owner at that time took me under her wing and did an apprentice with me. So she went and got her instructor's license. I was able to train on the job, which was really beneficial because I was also able to work while doing so. And then it took a little bit longer, but continued to work there, and then now have since bought it probably closer to 8 years ago, and just continued hard work, go a little further and add to it. So it was a neat experience. I was very grateful for the opportunity to have that mentor to help me along the way.
Awesome. I'm going to switch over here to Kim. If you could share with us what your journey to.
All right. I originally graduated when I was 16 and a half from massage school, and I had a blind instructor, and so she would blindfold us, so we had to see through our hands. And after finishing that, I went to college, and that's what helped put me through college. I worked in sports massage. After I graduated college, and I did not want to work in the degree that I went ahead and decided to do, I went into EMS, became a paramedic and a flight paramedic for 13 years. And then after that, I circled back around to medical massage and delved straight into it, realizing that there is a huge, we're missing a huge chance and ability to bring Western medicine and Eastern medicine together. So many people are on opiates, and so many people have the headaches, they've got the chronic pain. Being a paramedic, surf and turf, I got to learn a whole bunch of stuff along the acute side. But when it comes to actually caring for patients, and then on the flip side, you have massage therapists who at that time weren't fully licensed as providers. Since then, that has changed. And in order to become a medical provider, we needed to get the education. We have to have the continuing education and process. You have to have your board. And as that was being developed, which it is now you got to be able to be an actual medical provider and bring these two worlds together. When you're able to bring these two worlds together, magic can happen. So I can take someone who is seeing a neurologist and on lots of pain medication and Botox for the headaches, and we can make them the center and the primary person of their care. And then we work with the other providers and we can end up weaning down. And so the patient becomes accountable. They have to be a part of the process. And we can wean them down from the medication and regain their life. Too many doctors say, oh, there's nothing we can do about it. You gotta live with it. And that's just not true. But it's a co-care team that happens. So I've been super blessed and lucky to be able to integrate these two worlds and maintain my contacts with the other medical providers out there, whether it's surgeons, doctors, DOs, chiros. We're all part of a team. So that's how it can be medical providers. So
Wonderful, thanks. I'm going to take a quick step back. I should have done this a few moments ago, but does anybody have any questions for Chelsea real fast before we move on? Okay, how about for Kim? Does anybody have any of our panelists here have any questions right now? All right, we have plenty of time. So you guys, if you think of some, we'll circle back around to some questions and some dialogue between everybody. Hi, how about you? Why don't you tell us about your journey?
My journey started when I was at West Anchorage High School. I had the awesome opportunity of having Mrs. Hanner. Oh, that's great. So used to tell me, you got to talk to Mrs. Glutz in the back. And so she got me into competition acting that I did. I think it was in '89. I did 3 gold medals for inspirational, dramatic, and comedic, and also debate. And so that just got me really fired up. And then she got me a scholarship to Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. And so I majored in theater, arts, television, and film. I came back home and my community paid for me to go to California to be discovered by the Daniel Hoff Agency. And so that was my start. And I not only did I want to teach it, but after being in Hollywood, I wanted to share with people what the truth is.
Right.
They don't know the truth. And it's very, very ugly, but you can still be there, but you have to be able to stand on your own. And so it was just an amazing, excuse me, much. I got to do television. I'm a songwriter, I'm an author. And then just coming back home to be able to share that, all that I've learned, share that with this community so that people don't feel like they're in a box, but when they do decide to venture out, they'll be able to stand on something greater than themselves. And that was my journey. I've taught theater, I've taught acting. I was for an agency for 7 years. I ran a school and an agency, which was pretty amazing. And so when COVID hit, I said, this is a good time to go back home.
Nice. Well, we're glad that you did. Does anybody have any questions for Di before we move on?
Not really a question, a comment. I just wanted to thank you because as a mother raising 3 young children, 2 being girls, I really value that. It's a tough world raising children with the social media and stuff. So thank you for having a program like that.
Thank you.
That's really useful.
Awesome. Lena.
Hi.
Hi. You had quite the journey. So I think maybe you have 3 journeys to tell us about.
Yeah.
So please, we'd like to hear from you.
So at 21, I got my real estate license. And that was, I want to say in about 2008 when we had the mortgage meltdown. I had to switch gears. I've always been self-employed, but I needed to get into something else because the real estate market wasn't doing too good. And so I started helping people invest and started looking up assisted living homes in the licensing process. And so I got involved in some of the training to be CNA. And then from there, I kind of built, I had a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of wrong decisions, but finally in 2013, we really opened up a home care agency for seniors. And then I kind of, we really grew from there. And then right after that, we wanted to invest more into our community. So we started looking at transitional living and how we can help clean up. I think at the time there was a lot of crimes and we were like #1 in the nation for crime 3 years in a row. And so we were like, hey, let's get involved. Let's do something about it. And that's when House of Transformation was birthed. And so from there, we just kind of created wraparound services around the population we were serving, and started to really grow into employment and vocational and apprenticeship. I want to say this year we partnered up with Di because I really love her model for helping people, be more confident and build their self-esteem. So we wanted to integrate that into like not just skill building, but character building as well. So yeah, you're welcome. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Does anybody have any questions for Lena? All
I
right.
just want to also just say that I was really excited. I think that that's amazing. A lot of times businesses don't work together, and that's what I'm excited about, being in Alaska and Anchorage and being able to work with others. And so,
Yeah.
and then just helping the families and bringing people up. Some people think that just because they made mistakes or just because they got incarcerated or just because they did drugs,
Yeah.
that they can't rise again.
Yeah.
And when you're able to show them the beauty within themselves and they're able to look into the mirror, that is just priceless. And so I'm grateful for your service.
Yeah. Thank you so much for working with us.
My pleasure.
Sela.
Oh my gosh. Hello.
Yep, you're up. Tell
Yeah.
us about your journey.
About my journey. So mine started off, I have a degree in accounting, but I was also in the military. So I'm prior military, also a military spouse. And then, so I was all working in the financial industry. One thing I always seen was people don't know how to manage their money, always overdraft their account, they coming in. So we moved around every 3 years in the state. So I was never really able to get a job and keep that because the banks, they don't have it. So when we went to Hawaii, I was trying to look for a job like in the finance. That being a mom with 2 little ones, it's a lot of money to pay for daycare. So I stumbled on an opportunity to be an entrepreneur, to open my own office, pick up all the licenses, the investment, the life license. So when I became one, my goal was like, oh, if I can retire my husband from the military, I paid a lot more than he does. So I got him out. And then we made a faith move from Hawaii to here and opened up our office in September last year during COVID. And since then, it's just been such a blessing. And one thing I've noticed is that a relationship is a huge thing for us. With the education and relationship, people don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care. So, and then we back that up with our financial education. We bring it out to the community, and it's just been a blessing to be like able to sit and share with people. And I think when you really do, and that's one thing I want to encourage wife, mom, little girls, whatever you want to be, especially being a mom. A lot of time we think like, oh, I'm just a mom, I can't go after my dreams. No, you can be one. You can be a boss mom and also be a business person and a great wife and a great mom. So but that's kind of my story, and my story is still going, still written. So I'm super excited for that.
Unbelievable. So Mayor, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty empowered by these women and pretty humbled to be around all these wonderful entrepreneurs and so much energy in this room. So
Yeah.
do you have any questions for any of them?
No, other than just a comment that I admire the entrepreneurialism. It's a tough thing to do. I know, especially starting in the middle of COVID. That's really special, especially in this town. So I just want to commend you all for the hard work and making lots of mistakes early on, because that just happens. But they're all learning opportunities, and none of them are fatal. You just keep pushing on.
Yeah.
So as I was listening to each of you, I couldn't help but hear, I heard, I started during COVID and I changed careers and I moved here from Hawaii, and I moved back here and I came back from college. So I hear all these different, I guess I could say might be speed bumps for people or lessons learned.
Yeah.
So I'd like to provide the audience with some of your lessons learned. I think that when you go about opening a business, the thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But as a former business owner myself, I can tell you that I did make mistakes. And writing those lessons learned for other young women so that they don't have to make those mistakes. Some of them I think are okay for them to make. Everybody needs to kind of make some mistakes to grow. But let's go around the room and share some of your aha moments, or, gosh, that lesson was so valuable, but yet I can create a help for other people. So Lena, let's start with you.
Yeah. So, like I said, in 2008, there was a mortgage meltdown. I was in real estate for about 4 years, and you have to learn marketing. You have to have a vision. You have to have a business plan. Real estate is brutal sometimes, and so in 2008, I just started focusing on people who were retiring. And they wanted to invest into something. And they kind of had a plan already. They were just looking for the real estate to make it happen. So I started researching assisted living licensing and, what they would need to get the funding as far as that goes. And so what I really did was started to help people. I kind of got out of the mindset that I'm surviving, and I got into the mindset of serving. And so once that happens, a lot of doors started to open up. I started to learn new things. And that's when I switched over from real estate to home care or senior care. And it's been a passion since. And that was it was an amazing opportunity. The economy turned, and I was able to use that and grow from it.
Awesome. So I think what I heard is it's important to have a business plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's also important to be flexible and willing to switch from those different careers and kind of roll with the economy and find what you do best.
Yeah. Adaptable.
Adaptable. That is a
One thing I'd like to add is that in starting in the small business, which I did about 11 years ago, was the help you need up front, the accounting, which software do we use? How do I start a website? Those kind of mechanical things absorb a lot of your time when you're just trying to advance an idea, this entrepreneurial vision and stuff. What we actually just last week, and they probably should have been here, come to think of it, was the Small Business Administration has expertise that they offer for nothing. They have grants, they have loans, and they're just kind of coming out of their COVID reclusion kind of thing, and they've got a staff of about a half a dozen folks up here that can provide that guidance. So if you're looking to start a new business, or you're in a business and they're there to help, and they get federal grants to do just that. They're not going to come in and say buy your product, but they're going to come in and help you stand up, refine, and perfect your business methodology so you can sit out front and do the entrepreneurial work. And I think that's a good asset. So Small Business Administration.
Absolutely. So Stella, how about you? What was that one mistake that you went, oh my goodness, I wish I hadn't done that, but I'm glad I did. It really turned out to be a good lesson learned.
I think it's definitely we have to remove the word perfection from and you have to be willing to be able to fail over and over again. And then I think when it comes to taking risks, because he got out 12 years in the military, we took it, and a lot of people say, yeah, you took a risk, but we took calculated risk. So 2020, we start planning. We didn't just open up last year. We were already kind of focused in, always seeing the opportunity over here. So 2020, when we came out, I still remember it was February, came to meet with a realtor. And then we got back to Hawaii, and all the water in the toilet paper was gone. And we're looking at each other. It's like, wait, we were going to make our big move. We're going to go announce to everyone we're opening an office. So what we did, we had to we had to separate. So he had to stay back in Hawaii. I come out and built relationship. So I believe that's a key thing that if anyone can learn is relationship, and removing relationship is huge. And that's what's been helping us with our business to just, I was here 2020 October. So we closed our house in June. I was so nervous, so scared to be out here by myself. So I went back to Hawaii, and in October we moved back, and just building relationship. That was a key thing that I was really focused. And I believe it doesn't matter what business you're in. People want to be treated. Someone has a invisible sign saying, "Make me feel important." So that was my key thing from 2020 October until now. And that's how we've been seeing our office like growing. It's because of those seeds that we planted. But as I know, as all entrepreneur, we take risks. But I always tell my team, we take calculated risks. Don't just wake up and be like, I'm going to go full force. No, make sure you're calculating your risk. Make sure you have something, build an airplane on your way down.
That's why we need you.
Yeah.
We bring our friends to you to help us with that part.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's my
Awesome.
takeaway.
So strategy is really, really important. And I think another thing I picked up in your conversation is you said you used the word remove perfection. And I think a lot of times we feel like we have to have everything just perfect and we're not allowed to fail. And sometimes those aspects of failure and acknowledging those failures and then just fixing them and moving forward is important. I know when I first started here, I made a mistake and I took it to Amy Domboski, and she looked at me and she said, "Okay, great, we made a mistake, and how are we going to fix it, Rochelle?" And I thought, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing. I've got this wonderful person that's going to teach me how to fix this," and we did, and I've never made the mistake again. So
There we go.
that was great.
That's awesome.
So Chelsea, what about you? What's a lesson learned that
Lesson
you
learned,
could
bumps
prevent
along
from
the
other people
road.
making?
I would kind of just feed off of hers again in my industry. It can be somewhat cutthroat, and I would say just not comparing yourself to others. Especially in the salon industry, there's going to be salons that are much bigger, better, bright always. That if you focus on those things, it can kind of intimidate or hold you back from moving forward or following your dream. But just having that passion, and I've always just gone with the motto of treat anyone who sits down as I would like. Fancy thing out there that you can see. So again, just kind of treating every person that comes as you would like to be treated or have done to you, and just not comparing yourself to other, in my industry, stylists, or especially nowadays with social media. And it's just like, it can really just be intimidating, which we have to, work together. And oftentimes, especially these younger kids, you go, that's not really realistic. Sometimes, that's a model or a wig or kind of just, okay. So there's always just bumps along the way, and starting smaller with your vision with just kindness, because it will work up to, you don't need that beautiful, fancy, brand new spot to make your dreams happen. If you just have that passion and vision, and
That's right.
treat people
That's
like you want to be treated.
Yeah, really, really good message. I think a lot of times we find ourselves comparing ourselves to others, and sometimes that can be, take away from our self-esteem. But if you keep with the focus and your dreams, and be kind, and realize that what you're doing is wonderful, and lots of people are happy, that leads to a lot of success and a lot of happiness.
And value truly what you're more good at. Like as a stylist and a salon owner, I know my strengths and weaknesses, a lot that I've learned along the way just doing them. But there's room out there for all of us. And if we work together, like, I know what I'm better at or not, and somebody next to me or in the industry might be better at that than me. So just truly being honest. And I think that will go a long way, rather than trying to be almost greedy with things and stuff.
So yes. Wonderful. Thank you.
Kim.
Oh, my word. We were lucky to get with the small business early on, and both Bria and I taking the jump together and learning. We didn't take any of the grants, but it was just having the knowledge. And I would say that Bria and I have learned definitely we've made many mistakes, because we're also the workers, we're also employed of our business. And each thing we both had a really good mindset. And we didn't allow anything, even the scary stuff, to get us down. It's like, how can we problem solve? What are we going to do next? What are our choices? What are we going to make happen? And being able to have a good mindset got us through so many different things. Even if one of us was, geez, I don't know about that, we can list out, these are our fears. Okay, is that real or is that projected fears? Let's just stick with the facts for right now. Cross each bridge as you come to it. Personal relationships, integrity, were the most important things. We've gone from 3 people up to 13 people. And one of the most valuable things that we have done is, one, the front desk doesn't let me anywhere near a computer. Okay, so that's number one. Recognizing the strengths and weaknesses. We invest in our employees. And if that's the job that you're gonna do, you own it. And I'm not gonna be micromanaging. That's what you're getting paid to do, and you own the entire job. If I have to come in, we are in trouble. That's for sure. I don't surround myself, I should say Bree and I don't surround ourselves with like-minded people. I need everybody's opinion, because we all have like a quarter with the ridges on it. We all have our own experiences and life experiences, the way we think, our backgrounds, everything kind of comes together. Now, in the end, are we the bosses? Yes, we are. We're also the employees as well. And I really do mean Bree and I. We will put a lot of different things out to the employees. What would you guys like to do? How do you guys feel about X, Y, or Z? And because of that, we were able to institute having a 401k that we were able to match. Now, we're not big enough where we can do, let's say, paid time off and things along the lines of vacation, but that was, their choice and what we went along with and back up. And we invest in every single one of them. And I would definitely like to say, not anyone, male, female, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. You're being a good person, head down and just working. I still don't even have a sign for our building. But we now own the building.
That's right.
That's awesome.
So now you're allowed to put it up.
So it's not even allowed. It's just, I grow small, calculated risk, but $500 in each of our pocket, and we now
That's
own our
awesome.
building. So
Yeah,
That's good.
congratulations.
anyway, thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so Kim, one of the things that I picked up on is to make sure that you're open-minded. Listen to those different opinions and take them with a grain of salt, but also realize those little kernels that are really valuable and that can open up your company and help with your employees to expand their knowledge, which they will.
We're investing in
Yeah.
each person. And your mind doesn't work if it's closed. So your mind's like a parachute. It has to be open if you want it to work.
True
That's
for work.
right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I will have to say, the whole time I've been asking you guys questions, I have this thing going on in the back of my mind is I heard Di say that she had done some comedian work. So I'm just dying to hear some sort of a joke or something, or some sort of quick lines. I'll let you think about that for a bit, but I think I might come back because these women have all these beautiful smiles, and I was like, okay, I want to hear some of those quick jokes over there.
Oh, no, I'm not a comedian.
Awesome. So I would like to take just a second to acknowledge that we have some wonderful women in the audience too that are listening and here that have joined us. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and visit with us and listen to all these stories. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So when the mayor had talked about small business loans and all the different things that the government can help us do. I know one of the things that I found challenging when I opened up a coffee shop was I didn't know where to go for those. And I didn't know, I literally, when we applied for a bank loan, they said, oh, you need a business plan. A what? It's right up here. What are you talking about? I'm gonna sell coffee. What more do you need to know? And so I had to really learn how to write that business plan. And then after you have the business, okay, so what is the marketing plan, and then what is the employee manual look like, and all that kind of stuff. So some of those things were a few barriers for me that I had to get over. So if we could go around and let us know what some of the barriers were for you. What are those things that when you came up against them, you thought, oh goodness, this is a showstopper. How do I do this? And then where did you go for that help? So we'll start with you, Chelsea.
Can start from there. So I actually had gone to the SBA site years back. And I have to say, I do hear I'm more artistic. I'm very vocal, see things. So I was intimidated, even just going to the site. That's just not a strength for me. So it kind of where Michelle was going off of when it started asking for the things that you need to even talk to somebody in order to do, it was just like, okay, holy cow, to get the grant. So it, I would say just kind of that intimidation, what would personally kind of have been a nice thing and could possibly, been in my ear too, but have some kind of mentor program, like just alongside with that, somebody perhaps that you could easily, more accessibly contact to help you figure out those programs and stuff that are available. So that was just kind of it was somewhat just intimidating if you're not somebody who is more minded with paperwork and
Or a template.
or templates or right. You kind of get lost in that, right. Just like I have this idea and now can somebody help me figure out what to do with it? And I have a very active mind and we need to all bring it together.
Yeah.
So just kind of some mentoring program would be fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Lena,
Yes.
what are some of those barriers that you ran up against, and
Yeah.
you
So
can help us get over those?
as I was saying, self-employment is really different from business building. So like, I know what I can do and I can, work on it and I'll learn and grow. But running a business and hiring people and training them and putting processes in place is difficult for me. And then, so I'm learning even now to share the vision, because you're right, it's all up here. And I'm like, well, I think I've got a vision, but your team has to understand the vision. So I want to say one of my barriers was really transitioning from being self-employed to training a team.
Gotcha. I'm going to jump over here to Di. And Di, I got so mixed up in thinking about you acting and all those things. I forgot to ask you about the previous question that I asked everybody, and that was, oh goodness, now I'm forgetting what I had actually said to everybody. How the lessons learned that you had. So I'm gonna ask you to answer two questions at the same time. Your lessons learned, and then also, what were those tools that were what were the barriers that you got over? So two parts. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. So definitely the reading. You have to read. I'm a visionary.
Well,
I'm like, I just want to find the answer and get to the point. And when you're a visionary, you need someone to be able to look at all the fine print. When you are signing contracts and things like that, I tell people all the time, my mentor used to always tell me, if it's not in your pocket, don't do it. And so save your money and your money will save you. And so I saved my money so I didn't have to get loans, so that I could walk into the building and do everything that I need to do and not feel pressured. And resting. You have to rest.
Oh,
You
yes.
have to rest, because if you burn yourself out, and then like you said, all of it is here.
Yeah.
I'm the visionary. I have all the information here and I haven't shared it with anyone.
Yeah.
And so that's going to make it difficult for me to do business, because if I'm at home in the bed sick, shut down, then the business can't thrive.
Yeah.
And so, and it's hard, especially with no one working and people, there's jobs available, but people won't work.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do you get a team together? And that's one of the barriers I have, like trying to, because people trust me with their heart. So I just can't hire anyone, because you have to have my heart so that you can pass it on to somebody else. And so those things are really, really important. And with any business that we have, if someone's shampooing hair, you don't want them and they're talking to your customers any kind of way. It matters how we communicate to people. It matters how you love people.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're helping them with assisted living, helping them financially, giving them massage,
Mhm.
and that's so intimate, even with the massages.
Yeah.
So those things are so important to me. But that financial portion and understanding the business that you're
Yeah.
in. So you just, I have a great idea. Oh, I want to go into that was me. Whee! I was the bird that said, "Whee!" Then my dad was like, "Oh, so how much money do you have?" I go, "Well, yeah, no, it doesn't work that way. You need to put the pen on."
That's right.
You have to like write, and then when I had to write, someone said, the lady says, "Well, we need a financial plan." I said, "Who?"
We're gonna phone a friend.
Yeah.
He's like,
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna phone somebody. Give me a minute.
Give me a minute.
So I was that girl, and so then it's like I had to grow up, and like you know, it's like I had to put all the pieces together. And my mentor said, "You don't ever have to recreate the wheel.
Yeah.
That's right.
You just run it through."
Run it.
Everything, because I said, well, I also want to help businesses, and I want to help because I used to work for Nordstrom's back in the day, and we used to have people that would come in and inspire us and help us. I said, well, I want to recreate that, and I want to do is don't change anything, just keep running it back
Yeah.
through. You don't have to recreate anything, run it through the program that you already have. And so that the mentorship is huge. You have to have someone
Yeah.
to help mentor you, guide you. And if we did have a template, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of going with your strengths. Yeah,
Yeah.
some people are
And
stronger
you,
at.
like you said, you have to know what your weaknesses are.
Yeah.
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 And when you have that's key. But a team is necessary.
That's
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you don't have a team,
A team.
and I was told, I was like, well, I was
Yeah.
trying to hire someone to clean the bathrooms. And my mentor said, yeah, it's you.
That's right.
That's me.
Are you having a hard time finding employees?
Yes. People do.
That's a good question.
You interview someone, and you're and trying to help them, and then you're empowering them.
That's if they show up to the
This,
interview.
yes. And then they show up and say,
Yeah.
yes, I want the job. And then you call them and they don't answer the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this a recent phenomenon or
Yes.
last couple of years?
Yeah.
Kind of a COVID thing, maybe?
That's 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
Not too long
Yes,
ago.
sir.
well, I'm just wondering if you've been in business a while, if COVID has changed some dynamic in our society. I have this sense that it has,
Yes,
Yeah.
and because it seemed to be several years ago, young people were striving to get the best job they could. It's kind of like us at our age, or
Yeah.
my age and your age, where you try to get ahead and get the next job and move on up. And it's like now it seems like a lot of people want to stay home. I don't know how that money situation works out, but it would be. I'm just curious, if government is in the way of anything. Kind of my job here is to get government out of the way of small business, because small business is where all a big portion of the jobs come from.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely.
And definitely surviving COVID.
Yeah.
Gosh.
There's too many jobs everywhere. I know a young man that I was mentoring who came out of prison. He lived in Texas. He moved out here. He's been out of prison for 2 years, and I was encouraging him. And I says, you can have whatever you say. He's working for a homeless shelter, making $25 an hour. I'm sorry. I'm confused at why we can't have a job.
Mm.
And there's no excuses.
Yeah.
That's right.
We had a job fair,
Yeah.
and everyone's sitting there waiting for people to come and here's a job fair. Do you want a job? And then it's dead. That's bad.
I hear a lot from the restaurant industry. It seems to be my life or whatever, but the restaurant owners are saying that they're now restaurants that were open 7 days a week routinely historically, and they're closing 2 days a week so they can allocate their limited amount of the most critical resource, which is their wait staff, their employees, and try to do a good job for 5 days instead of a very bad job for 7 days.
Right. I think it's their communication skills. People are having issues communicating. And when I can't communicate, then I don't want to go out. When I don't have the confidence to move, I'll just sit at home.
Mhm.
Right.
and I'll just be depressed
Yeah.
Right.
and have low self-esteem
Yep.
Mhm.
and tell my mommy I need help.
Mhm.
Or somewhat of like an ego system
What's
to
that?
ego too now. An ego now, even from kind of an ego entitlement situation of
Yes.
not wanting to start a little slow, and work your way up. People just, but that's definitely a conversation that can go very
Deep.
deep.
I agree with that one.
But even as raising kids now, I mean, I'm to blame myself. My kids are much more entitled than I ever could have imagined. I mean, so as a society, I think we're somewhat all to almost blame for that. Yeah, that's hard. And then COVID definitely. I mean, my small business, I had code enforcement past administration, but we had just were able to get back open and running. So I mean, and if I don't work, I don't get a paycheck. So
Yeah.
being off for that 7 weeks, I mean, that was definitely, if you made that, you were doing good then. And so then when we finally got back, we had, and I'm just kind of a no-name little shop, code enforcement came in just to check, and it was a pretty wild ride. So that definitely was
Congratulations.
a little overbearing, I thought.
We're not doing that again.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So I'd like to kind of keep this conversation going. We've got a few more minutes before we have to wrap things up, but Mayor Bronson is right. My final question and I'll just open it up for you guys to talk about, is how does government get in the way? And Chelsea, you started to describe that a little bit. And how does it get in the way, and how can we do better? What kind of expectations would you like the mayor and all of us that are here to help? What message do you want us to hear? What can we do better?
I would say, I mean, just kind of as with everything, let the private sector just, of course, there has to be rules and regulations and stuff to abide by for safety and going forward. But like that code enforcement and, it was just unnecessary. And just the strings attached to so many stuff, or perhaps operating costs. I mean, to get stuff going, it's really tough anymore for quite a few people just to have an idea and move it forward. So just kind of letting that free marketplace just kind of play itself out a little bit.
So I think one of the things I grabbed from that was maybe take a look at different codes and see if they're still applicable and if there's any room for changes. And the other thing I might have heard was possibly take a look at the different fees to get involved in a business. Is that
Exactly.
Is that what I heard?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Kim, what can we do better?
Well, during COVID.
Or going into the future too. I mean, we all have futures.
Well, when you're a small business owner or a business owner, be big, just because someone says we should shut down, well, we still got to pay bills.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, you can't take any government assistance.
Mhm.
And so if you want to do right by the community and you want to put in protocols, and once they're in, you got to be able to, hey, let's go ahead. We need to work. Like you said, we don't work, we don't get a paycheck, we can't pay those bills, and those bills are still there.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, you're responsible for your employees.
Mm-hmm.
And your employees can't make their bills. Some of them did have an opportunity to receive some of the benefits from the COVID, but you still have to stay open and at that time pay your building owner and all the other stuff going on. Going forward, common sense. Always, keeping the community and everything that's going on, and health and safety, obviously first. And then letting people work who want to work, should be getting involved in
Right.
people's ability to have an income, make an income, be able to be seen by medical, things along those lines. So I'd just say move out of the way.
Yeah.
And if people want to work here, sign this waiver,
Right.
work.
Mhm.
If people don't, then, I'm not here to push my values or opinions or anything on anybody else. But people who do want to work, let us work.
Right.
Yeah.
Some great feedback.
Yeah. Like now, and it goes from state to state, but in the hair industry, if I wanted to go forward or have some help, like even bringing people in to wash hair now, I was told in different states, it's different laws to each, but now you have to have like a braiding license or a hair washing. So it's like to even get somebody in to move forward, it's another license or, and I'm totally, I understand the need for licenses and stuff in business, but it
Not
just
being
is getting a
serious.
little bit, exactly. It's like, okay, then that just happened because people were to blow dry a hair and now you have to be. So it's just kind of like gotten a little bit harder to grow your business with all the
These are additional licensing
additional
requirements
licensing
since
now that
COVID?
have, not since COVID, since
That
the
is-
blowout industry has became kind of more popular in the
Right.
salon industry around the States. People starting like blowout lounges or bars. So now to get an employee to come in just to shampoo, wash hair, you have to have, I think they created a new license now. You can have hairdressing, a barber, and now a braiding license. So I'd have to follow from state to state, but it just, and that was just I think because it was becoming popular, which is just more revenue. So it's just a little bit, something I need to look into to go forward.
Ladies, what else do you want us to know? Anyone?
So I'm currently going through something right now with post-secondary education. Because I'm in the apprenticeship / vocational field, I have to get the main vocational license for the vocational school. But because I work in different fields, including the board and barbers, I also have to get different licenses to be able to teach in there.
Exactly.
And I've gone through the process of getting all my instructor licenses. But even now they gave me, they approved my exemption in March and then took it back in September. And then they just gave it back to me and said I have like a temporary time to get approval from each organization or each industry in each field. I said, some of them don't give approvals.
Yeah.
I said, and I've got all my apprenticeship programs registered through the Department of Labor. And they said that wasn't enough. I
Right.
still had to get the school approval from the Board of Barbers,
Right.
the DMV school approval to be a CDL trainer. DMV hasn't issued a school approval in 20 years.
Right.
20 years.
Wow.
I know a guy that's gone through it for 3 years and they still didn't give it to him. And he's a DBE. And so he had to partner up with UAA. So we sat down and had a meeting with UAA. UAA said they're not ready for CDL until fall. And then I watched the news and there's a CDL shortage all over.
Right.
We just got our approval as a community instructor in Washington. They have thousands of people. They're not even picking up trash for months because they don't have enough CDL drivers.
Wow.
Right.
I was like, make the process easier for us to train people.
Right.
And then we have apprentices, so they're getting paid while they learn. I love the RAP program, which opened it up to private sectors to be able to train people and certify people. Whereas before it used to be just unions that would certify and register people. Well, they're now opening it up to private people, so private employers, but they're making it hard for, or at least just this post-secondary education licensing portion of it for me. That became a little difficult. So we had a meeting with the director and they said, this is new, so we're trying to work it out. But I'm still getting red tapes where, okay, well, let's meet again in May. I said, well, I've got the final approval for the apprenticeship program and that's a requirement. They said, well, we still need to meet in May. I was like, okay, they said they're not communicating, so they don't understand how each program works and they're trying to figure it out as well. But it makes it really difficult for us as well to do what we have to do. Yeah.
All right, we've got about 4 minutes left of our time together today. Mayor, I'd like to give you an opportunity to ask some questions if you have any, or offer some advice, or give us some comments if you'd like to.
Well, just more of a question. Again, and I kind of asked it earlier, is there anything the municipality can do to maybe just get out of the way? We think we've, since we've come in the last 8 or 9 months, cleaned out a lot of the encumbrances to small business. We hope we have. That was, an objective. But if there's anything else, we're certainly open to critique on that to to just get out of the way. Obviously, you know, we want businesses to be safe, especially like in the restaurant. We want clean food, those kinds of things. But boy, the government come in and you know, we went through a period of harassment with code enforcement last couple of years, and that was, I think, problematic. But that's history. That it is what it is. We don't want to go back there, but we want to just see going forward, where can the government get out of the way, or simply even come in and help. So if anyone has suggestions, we're here.
Downtown parking meters that don't work during.
The meters themselves
Yeah,
don't work.
because they're too cold. They don't accept the credit cards and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's first I've heard of that. So good. All right. Talk to
That would be good. And
ACDA. They're the ones that control that.
we've had some conversations, so, yeah. And,
They don't work for card or for coin.
yeah, it just won't, they're just too cold. They freeze out during the winter time.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
then,
Yeah.
at least off of Cordova Street.
Yeah.
I can tell you. I'll be more
No,
specific.
I've been to your shop. No, I know exactly where it is.
And then I think that some things have changed in regards to just the safety being downtown with the homelessness, making sure that my employees in the building are safe.
Yep.
Things along those lines, but yeah.
We think in the next few months here, by June, we've got some what are pretty public process changes on that. It's been 9 months. It'll almost be a year, and we're going to make some changes.
It's a
And
complicated process.
It
It's
is.
Very, very
Mhm.
big.
got roughly 1,200 people in the city that are problematic to
Mhm.
varying degrees. Some very minimal, some very some criminal. But that's a very small percentage, but they're there and they create a problem. So we're working on that.
Just working together,
Bringing common sense back.
Yeah.
Right.
common sense.
So I'm
Common
going to
sense.
branch out into the audience. Does anybody in the audience have any questions? Oh, wonderful.
Hi, my name is Lucy Hanson. I run a small nonprofit in Anchorage, but I have a question. First, I want to say thank you for all this new business owners, small business owners, and now women, and now younger than me, right, Mayor?
Yep.
So, but my question is, as you were talking about COVID, and when it hit COVID, learning from outside of the community, we do have some businesses owner that they closed their doors because of COVID and because of less funding and because of less people to work.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is to you, some of your businesses started here in 2020 and started during COVID, but if your business was starting back before COVID, do you find yourself, or even now during COVID, do you find yourself starting your business finding access to funding for a small business that comes into our city of Anchorage? Is it accessible for you, or was it hard for you to get into those funding that comes in to help your business? Because that's what I hear outside of the community, that there's funding coming in, but it's really hard for them to get in to apply for this funding. So that kind of cut them out of, so they closed their doors.
Mhm.
So I wanted to know from you if you have seen that affect your business. And also, I know COVID affects your business from getting more people in because of distancing. And I noticed that we don't have that policy anymore to close stores and to the mayor to have a business coming out and making money so they can be able to take care of themselves. So that is my question. Do you see that happen, trying to get into access to those funding? Or if there's any funding that's available for small businesses in Alaska?
I didn't have no help. I couldn't find any help.
I think it could have been definitely more easily accessible and ready available. Like that first round of PPP, it almost seemed like it was gone before mainstream kind of had heard about it.
But nobody knew what was going on.
Right.
I mean,
So it was
they
like
knew
it was
what was
almost
going
set
on.
up that the money was gone and before it was kind of out. So people who know that system.
So the communication
Right.
to.
So there's
have this
definitely a
access-
loophole where, certain businesses must have people in play that know where these grants to look for. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a job, whereas we don't get, yes.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Norma Disarro, and thank you, Mayor, for the plug to the SBA. I'm their Economic Development Specialist, Public Information Officer. And I've taken such a strong interest in these roundtables because I'm learning more and more. And one consistent thing I hear about is I didn't know. And so, as a public information officer, you scratch your head going, okay, well, we did press releases, we did this, but obviously we missed something. But what I can tell you, at least for the state of Alaska, is that a lot of our lenders here in Alaska were not SBA certified lenders. So that was the first barrier, is that not all the lenders were participating. So it wasn't like SBA had a fast track get certified. They still had to go through the normal process like any lender. So that created a backlog for the lenders that were certified, like First National, Wells Fargo, Alaska USA. And then all of a sudden now we have over 20, we have pretty much all the lenders in Alaska now have the SBA certification. So that was very challenging for the lenders to, process their member applications. And then you have banks who say, okay, we'll take outside members. So there was a lot of creating the plane while it's flying type. And, having been there, lived it, it was frustrating. And we were on this side and you on that side. And so we did do our best to communicate that. But I would, again, I love these platforms because I'm learning other things too that we could have done better. And too, Lucy, you said, you made the comment that businesses didn't get the piece of the pie, so to say. One of the things that I communicated with Mayor Johnson and his team was that it's because their accounting infrastructure, their accounting system was not in place. When the SBA asked for your 2 years of taxes, asked for income statements, this and that, a lot of businesses were not prepared. They were just not prepared. And so that created another holding pattern, wait till you get your taxes, wait till you do this. And all of that took time, and by the time they got it together, the application in front of them was complete, ready to go. So anyways, I have my business cards. We do have a partnership event next week with 49 Angel Fund, another, women's platform type women history month. I think our motto is they said no and look at me now. So
Yes.
we'll be having lunch. The First Lady will be there also as a guest speaker. But if you don't have any plans next week, 12:30 to 1 o'clock.
Yep, and you will have free lunch courtesy of the ACDA, so we can talk about the parking meters.
There you go. I think we have some flyers, but yeah, I have a business card. I'll stick around afterwards as well. In regards to that CDL program, I actually started that program at DOT with Mr. Green.
Okay,
And
yes,
I know
okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, ladies, we are coming to the end of our time together. I'm sure that we could spend a lot more time together if we had it, but I wanted to thank all of you for coming. Those of you that are in the audience as well, we greatly appreciate you. And just a quick little reminder, we are having another roundtable on Thursday, which I am really looking forward to. And it's Women in Government. So please feel free to come back, tune in online or wherever you're watching, and join us on Thursday.